All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today. Let's just dive straight in because we have a really fantastic explainer lined up for you. Today, we're breaking down a classic, deeply moving Hindi fairy tale. But look, right off the bat, I need you to completely forget that tired old knight in shining armor saves the helpless princess trope. Throw it out the window. What we are looking at today is a brilliant, action packed subversion of that exact idea. We are exploring the story of the woodcutter, the princess, and the path of blood. It's a tale that totally redefines courage and, well, asks some incredibly tough questions along the way.
So I want you to consider the profound dilemma we're presenting right here. A wise sage actually poses a variation of this exact question later in our story, and it sets up the ultimate emotional stakes for our heroine's entire journey. Just think about it for a second. Really put yourself in those shoes. What would you choose? Absolute, guaranteed comfort, or a terrifying leap into the dark unknown for love? Keep that choice in the back of your mind as we unpack exactly how our characters navigate this very question.
Okay, Section 1, The Woodcutter's Son, A Simple Life in the Sacred Forest. Our story kicks off with Ramu, a pretty sickly woodcutter, and his fiercely brave 10-year-old son Jitu, who's about to venture into the dangerous woods.
Now, when he sees his father suffering with this awful, severe cough, little Jitu steps up. He offers to go into the forest totally alone to fetch wood, fully acknowledging the steep slopes, the sharp thorns, and the terrifying wild animals out there. He volunteers to face literally all of that just to protect his dad. But there's actually a lot more to Jitu than meets the eye. While he just seems like an ordinary, poor woodcutter's boy, his ancestors were actually the ancient magical protectors of this very forest. There is a dormant hidden power lingering right there in his bloodline. And trust me on this, as we continue through this explainer, that ancient magic is going to become absolutely crucial. Which brings us to Section 2, a royal friendship, where two completely different worlds collide in this sweet-smelling sacred forest.
Look at how this relationship evolves over the years. So at age 10, Jitu is completely defined by his loyalty to his sick father. Fast forward a bit to when they're 13 and 15, and he has this fateful forest meeting with a 13-year-old Princess Kumud. She's wandering around, totally mesmerized by the fragrant air, and Jitu is so awestruck he hides behind a tree. He's just terrified to offend her. But she spots him, and they strike up this secret, innocent friendship. Kumud even encourages Jitu to bravely sneak into the palace through the back door just to visit her. And finally, by ages 17 and 19, that sweet childhood bond has blossomed into a deep, profound, and highly forbidden romance. It's two entirely different worlds, deeply intertwined.
But of course, true love never runs completely smooth, does it? Enter a 70-year-old wandering sage. He visits the 17-year-old princess and drops this incredibly heavy prophecy on her. He tells her a day is coming when she must choose between two drastically different destinies. On one hand, the path of comfort, wealth, absolute safety, keeping her royal title, the whole shebang. On the other hand, the path of hardship, filled with danger, dark magic, and pain, but also it's the path of true love. Now, Kumud doesn't fully understand what he means just yet, but that choice is rushing toward her fast.
Section 3, The Sorceress Strikes. The shadows awaken. Because, as you might expect, the sacred forest has a very dark side. And the danger the sage warned about? Yeah, it's already here. A sinister figure has literally been lurking in the thickets, watching Kumud and Jitu's pure love blossom with absolute disgust. So, who exactly are they up against? Enter our villain, Trishna. She is a terrifying sorceress, over 100 years old, with glowing eyes and hair like tangled brambles. She is an absolute master of dark magic. But most importantly, and you gotta catch her true motive here, she is hunting the hidden power in Jitu's bloodline. She wants to capture Jitu, extract that ancient, dormant magic of his ancestors we talked about, and use it to fuel her own dark, twisted spells. In Trishna, she doesn't wait around. She strikes. She conjures up this violent wind spell that sends leaves whipping dangerously through the air, catching the 19-year-old Jitu completely off guard. He screams out for Kumud, but it's too late. He is snatched away. Trisha drags him deep into her dark, hidden cave and binds him to the damp walls with heavy iron chains. He is trapped, he's confused, and he is completely at her mercy. Section 4, Tests of True Love, the Princess's Journey. Now, when Kumud realizes Jitu is gone, she doesn't just sit and weep. She actively rejects her safe royal life and races headfirst into the dark woods to save the boys she loves. And this brings us right back to the sage who asks a variation of our opening question.
Will Kamud survive the darkness? He tells her exactly where Trishna is, but he gives her a brutal warning. Rescuing Jitu means walking that agonizing path of hardship he prophesied earlier. To even reach Trishna's lair, Kamud will have to pass two nearly impossible, terrifying tests.
So the sage lays out this horrifying roadmap for her rescue mission. Step 1, she must survive the waterfall of fear. Step 2, she has to offer a blood sacrifice. And you know what? Kumud doesn't flinch, not for a second. She fiercely declares that she will endure absolutely any pain and face any darkness to get Jitu back. Her resolve is just off the charts.
So, she faces the first trial. She approaches this dark, magical waterfall. But this isn't just rushing water, it's a spell that projects her absolute worst psychological fears straight into her mind. She sees these horrifying visions of Jitu dying in agonizing pain. She sees her powerful father, the king, furiously stopping her. It is totally designed to break her spirit. But Kumud powers through. She conquers the illusion by crying out that these are lies, and she simply refuses to believe them. Her mind, in that moment, proves stronger than the magic.
Having survived that mental torture, she reaches the second trial, the visceral cost of entry. She stands before a massive black door that literally demands the blood of someone she truly loves to break its seal. And without a single moment of hesitation, Kumud takes a blade and slashes her own hand, sacrificing her royal blood. The magical door swings open. She has paid the price.
She steps into the lair, bleeding and exhausted, and confronts the 100-year-old sorceress face to face. When Trishna mocks her, asking what a pampered little princess could possibly offer for the boy's life, Kamud delivers an incredibly powerful, defiant declaration. She says, "If my breath stopping saves even one breath of Jitu, I will surrender everything." She proves right there, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that she values Jitu's life infinitely more than her own royal existence.
Section 5, Love Conquers All. The final stand. The tension in that cave is just suffocating as Trishna begins her deadly sacrifice.
Bound in those heavy iron chains, Jitu begs Kumud to flee, terrified for her safety. But Trishna just laughs and starts chanting her ancient, deadly spell. Then, just as the dark magic reaches a crescendo, a blinding light fills the cave. The sage dramatically intervenes, declaring that her trickery ends today, and what happens next is so thrilling. In the chaos, Kumud lunges forward and grabs Trishna's glowing dark wand. Trishna screams in absolute panic, warning her that the wand incinerates the weak, and anyone who touches it without centuries of power will die. But because Kumud is fueled by pure, sacrificial love, the curse is reversed. The spell violently backfires onto the sorceress. In a massive flash of light, the 100-year-old Trishna is instantly turned to solid stone. Jitu's chains shatter. They are finally free. But wait, the danger isn't entirely over just yet. We return to the palace, bringing us to the king's wrath. King Virendra Singh discovers everything. He finds out his daughter slashed her hand, fought an ancient sorceress, and did it all for a poor common woodcutter's son. And he is absolutely furious. He declares loudly that a royal princess can never, under any circumstances, marry a commoner. But the sage steps forward once more. He looks at the furious king and delivers this profound thought. A love tested by blood and sacrifice outweighs any royal throne. He reminds the king that any bond forged through such unimaginable pain, loyalty, and bravery simply cannot be restricted by arbitrary things like class, wealth, or royal titles. Hearing this and seeing his daughter's unbreakable resolve, the king's anger finally truly melts away. And so a kingdom unites. The story wraps up with a grand, joyous wedding, with drums echoing through the palace and all the way into the sacred forest. It beautifully resolves the core themes of our explainer today. Jitu, despite unlocking ancient power, proudly declares he's always going to stay true to his humble roots as the woodcutter's son. And Princess Kumud? She proves once and for all that true bravery doesn't require a sword and armor. Her unmatched courage saved them all. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this final provocative question. What lengths would you actually go to for true love? Kumud chose the thorny, bleeding path over the golden throne, and it made all the difference in the world. It leaves us reflecting on the ultimate moral here. Sometimes the hardest, most terrifying path is actually the most rewarding one. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this incredible story. Keep seeking out the deeper meaning in the tales around you, and I'll see you next time.